welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the biggest diet trends that we've seen over the last decade. It's fair to say there's a lot of different diet trends around. Many have appeared, reappeared and disappeared over the years, and there's still so many out there, some that I've probably never even heard of before. But today I thought I'd touch on some of the biggest ones that have been around and are potentially still around now today. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first one I'm going to mention is going on a gluten-free diet for weight loss. Gluten-free diets definitely had a lot of hype around them, both in terms of health and also in terms of helping to manage weight and for bettering weight loss. Often gluten is associated with products like pastries, biscuits, cakes, a lot of the sort of more treat foods that we tend to have to limit more in our diet because they're not as nutritionally dense. So a lot of people think gluten-free, that's great. If I go gluten-free, I'm going to cut out all of those foods, which can be quite energy dense. So if they do make up the majority of your diet and you're eating multiple of them every day of your life, then yes, you're likely to be in a calorie surplus from that. So you think gluten-free, great, it's going to make me cut out those kind of foods and turn to a healthier eating style, which probably is going to be less energy dense and also more nourishing. So for some people, they may end up going gluten-free and they find out they lose weight. One thing that may happen initially is because you're cutting out those kinds of foods, which is predominantly carbohydrate based, is that you lose a lot of water weight. So glycogen, which is the storage form of carbohydrate, holds on to 3 times its own weight in water. So you've not actually lost any fat as such, but you've just basically lost water from your body. So that's why you can maybe see initial rapid changes if you cut out those kind of products. Also, as I said, if you do use gluten as an excuse to stay away from those kind of products or consume less kind of energy dense foods, then you may see weight loss, but it's not the gluten itself that's causing weight gain or then the lack of gluten that's causing weight loss. It will just be that you've put yourself into a calorie deficit, which means you're consuming less energy than you are expending. Also, nowadays there's loads of gluten-free alternatives available, so it doesn't actually mean that you'll be eating any healthier, nourishing your body more, or steering clear of more energy dense foods if your goal is to lose weight or if you need to lose weight for whatever reason, for health purposes for example. So just cutting out gluten from your diet isn't going to then lead to weight loss. Another one that is popular is the Whole30 Diet. Now this diet gets you to eliminate sugar, grains, legumes, soy products and also dairy products. And it really focuses on sort of nourishing your body with natural whole foods. You can still have sort of meat and chicken, for example, and fish. Lots of fruit and veg, nuts, seeds. However, it does cut out quite a few different food groups. Now, as for the sugar, it pretty much focuses on added sugar as well, which is also known as free sugar, which yes, we do want to limit our consumption of. It can lead to health adverse effects as well as tooth decay. And currently as a population, we are consuming too much free sugar, which is the sort of extra sugar that is added to foods that isn't sort of naturally found there. And also if you, for example, blended up fruit to make a smoothie, which will still contain lots of sort of vitamins and minerals, however, because you've broken down those cell walls in the fruits, it leads to the sugars being released, so now they're classed as free sugars. So in some ways the sugar limit, that's a great thing to incorporate. Working to reduce sugar, however, is a very restricted mindset in that you have to completely eliminate it, whereas you're still able to enjoy those foods, just maybe not as your whole diet and not in large quantities. However, those kind of foods can still be enjoyed. You don't have to completely eliminate them from your diet in order to live a healthy lifestyle. As for the other groups of food though, this is where it's kind of interesting because they make you eliminate grains from your diet, which particularly when it comes to whole grains, they can be a great source of many vitamins and minerals, particularly your B vitamins, as well as being really fiber dense, which is really important for your gut health and bowel functioning. So getting rid of grains isn't exactly necessary, and they can actually be really healthy and a great part of your diet and a great way to bulk out meals. Then you've got dairy, which yes, is a source of saturated fat. However, you can get obviously lower fat versions, so like skimmed milk for example, and also milk in the UK, which obviously is a dairy product, is a great source of iodine. So generally, naturally you can get iodine in fish. However, as a population in the UK, we don't currently consume enough fish. So milk becomes one of our key sources of iodine as a population, so therefore eliminating it can also eliminate that iodine source. Also a really great source of calcium, so cutting out dairy altogether. Again, if you're not being smart about it or having alternatives that are fortified in the right way, then it's not exactly a necessary cut, and it's definitely by no means unhealthy having dairy. Then there's also the legumes, which again, they're not sort of unhealthy in any way, so I don't understand where the theory has come from needing to cut them in the diet. They're a great plant-based source of protein, so whether you don't eat meat or you just fancy more of a veggie-based meal, they're a great add-in to a meal. They're also generally lower in calories, lower in saturated fat than, for example, red meat. So if you're looking to create a lower calorie meal or one that's more nutrient dense, or as I said before, a veggie option, then legumes can be a great way to go. Also, legumes themselves are a great source of vitamins and minerals and a really great source of fibre, which as a country currently, the UK is not getting enough fibre. So they're a great way to bulk out a meal and add in some extra nutrients. Then you've also got soy, which is a controversial one, particularly when it comes to fertility. There's a lot of claims claiming that high soy consumption can lead to reduced fertility. However, a lot of those studies aren't the most accurate. They've been done on animals. And actually, if you look at some more of the human-based studies, more are definitely still needed. However, they indicate that they may actually be beneficial for things like fertility and menopause. So again, limiting soy isn't of a health concern. I don't get why you should have to limit that in your diet. Also, it's another great plant-based source of protein, and it's also a complete plant-based source of protein, meaning it contains all your essential amino acids. So things like tofu and edamame beans can really be a great addition to a kind of more plant-based diet or a veggie meal. Overall, on the Whole30 diet, the foods that you can eat, so things like fish, unprocessed meats like chicken, lots of fruit and veg, nuts, seeds, they're all really great food options and really healthy options. So you have got some protein in there, you have got some healthy fats, you have got some carbs, however they're lacking, and carbs aren't an essential part of your diet. However, they are great for energy and they will be a great fibre source. However, at least you have got some fruit and veg in there for the fibre. So overall, it is quite a healthy kind of diet. However, it's very restrictive, and it creates that restricted mindset around food, and it creates a lot of unnecessary food rules that definitely aren't needed. Then another one that is quite an extreme diet, I would say, is the Carnivore Diet, where you're basically allowed to consume meat and animal products, so things like eggs and dairy products. However, you're not allowed basically any form of carbs, no fruit, no veg, no grains, no seeds, no nuts, no legumes. So when I hear this, the first thing that comes to mind is, where are your micronutrients coming from? Where are you getting your vitamins and minerals? You're lacking in fruit and veg, and we all know that 5-a-day number is important to reach. It's an important target to hit, as well as variety in your diet in order to obtain a variety of nutrients. Then also, because of that lack of fruit and veg, because of the lack of carbs and whole grains in there, fibre is massively lacking. And not only is fibre important for regular bowel movements, we also now know it's essential for your gut bacteria, and it can really help your gut bacteria to produce healthy, beneficial products that we can use that promote optimal health within our bodies. And if we don't fuel those bacteria right, then our gut microbiota, so the group of bacteria in our guts, isn't going to be happy, and it can actually lead to adverse health outcomes. So that is a very restrictive diet approach, and you will miss out on so many essential nutrients. So please don't ever go for the carnivore diet, because there's so much missing from it, and again, it will create a very restrictive mindset around food. Then we've got the Paleo Diet, which is quite similar to the Whole30 Diet, just some minor differences. Again, with this one, you can eat things like fish, meat, seeds, nuts, eggs, oils as well. And then what you need to avoid is a little bit more specific. So compared to the Whole30, where it's got more generic things to avoid, Paleo's even more restrictive in a way. So I've got a list up here because there's a lot of things to remember for this one, but again, avoiding grains, legumes, starchy veg, so things like potatoes, artificial sweeteners, sugary drinks, processed meats, processed foods. So it's even more so restrictive, I think, than the Whole30 diet. And yes, avoiding processed meats, processed foods is great for you, like I said. Obviously, they have no health promoting effects in terms of physical health. However, mentally, it could be seen as quite restrictive. It could cause anxiety around social events where you've not prepared the food yourself, where there are processed foods and that's the only food option. So completely eliminating them from your diet, again, really promotes that restrictive mindset and that unhealthy relationship with food. So I think essentially, from both the Whole30, the Paleo Diet, well, the Carnivore diet as well, even just going gluten-free, they all sort of create these restrictive food rules that definitely aren't needed. Yes, striving to eat a healthy diet is amazing. However, like I highlighted on some of them, they cut out some things that are essentially healthy and can actually be beneficial, especially if you're on more of a kind of plant-based diet or eat more sort of veggie kind of foods, then they can definitely be more beneficial. And there's so many unnecessary things that have been cut out that are actually healthy. And then as for sort of when it comes to more processed foods, like I said before, they can definitely be enjoyed. You don't have to completely eliminate them. Everything can be enjoyed in moderation, everything can be enjoyed in balance. Yes, there's certain foods that are more nourishing than others. However, you don't have to ever completely cut something out of your diet. Unless, of course, for a very specific health reason or an allergy, for example, and you physically can't eat it. In terms of general health, everything can definitely be enjoyed. Two other diets that you may be thinking about that you may think I've missed are keto diet and intermittent fasting. However, both keto diet, I have done a detailed video on it before where I touched on a few other diet trends, as well as an intermittent fasting I've mentioned in another video too. So rather than just repeating myself, I'll link both of them up on screen as well as down below in the description. So if you're interested in both of those, head over to those videos to find out more about them. But as for this video, hopefully it's opened your eyes up a little bit more. Hopefully it's given you a better insight into some of the big diet trends that have been around, and hopefully it made you realise that they're just very restrictive. They're probably not what you need to do in order to reach optimal health. So hopefully you've taken something from this. If you have, be sure to smash a big thumbs up on this video. If you'd like me to dive into any more diet trends that I'm yet to mention, then definitely comment them down below. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel if you are new, as that would be amazing if you could do that, as well as being sure to tap on that notifications bell so you get notified whenever I upload. And I'll be sure to see you very soon with a brand new video.